What's happening? Happy Martin Luther King Day. So, a couple of weeks ago, I put out a video about the 5 P's to success that I talked about. So, I was asked to elaborate a little bit more. So, here's what I'm going to do I'm going to do one of those per day this week. So, here's your first P. P is have a plan. And as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. It doesn't have to be a PhD dissertation, 400 pager. No, it actually can be like an executive summary, a 1 pager. Just make sure that you put the right metrics depending on your goals, depending on, for example, what your line of work is, what it is you do. So if you're in sales, for example, you know you have to make a certain number of calls to get a certain number of appointments that lead to a certain number of consummated clients. Look, it used to be where, for example, on follow-ups, that it would take 5 to 7 follow-ups for a client to take action. That's no longer the case. The metrics are showing that it's now 15 to 17. We're busier, we're flakier, we're taking longer to make decisions. A lot of it is fear-based. So you have to make more phone calls. It's just the facts of life. And phone calls aren't the same as text. They're not the same as email. They're not the same as posting. Although all those things are important and you want to take that into consideration. You know, if social media is part of how you create clients, for example, you have to know how many posts you have to do a day, what kind of content. I mean, all these little metrics matter in order for you to achieve. The last thing I'm going to say is don't rely on motivation, because you're not going to have any kind of results. Think about it. Most of us don't really want to do much, right? You just want to hang out with friends. You want to go do leisure things. But how many people are motivated to go to the gym every day? Right? How many people are motivated to make a bunch of phone calls? Not really. So don't rely on motivation, because motivation is very fickle. What you do rely on is consistency. It's the old do it anyway. You know, you go to the gym anyway. You exercise anyway. You make the phone calls anyway, regardless of whether you feel motivated or not. And ironically, the more consistent you are, the more you're going to feel motivated. But don't rely on motivation. Be consistent. And the final thing I'm going to say here is make sure that you focus on the prize and not your pride. Do not let your pride get in the way. So if you get rejection, so be it. You're not going to be 100%. It's just not realistic. You're going to get rejected. We all do. I have a bunch of people who never return my calls. You know who you are? You don't return my calls. That's okay. I'm going to keep going anyway, because you cannot rely on other people for your own success. You rely on you. You and your faith. In my case, I believe in God. I rely on God, and I rely on me. My free will is what I activate every single day. I get up at 4:30 in the morning and I go at it. And I'm consistent. Of course, I have to always work on it. I'm not perfect, but I'm constantly working on it. There's some days that I don't feel like doing anything. It's the truth. But I do it anyway. You know why? Because it's anchored to my why, which is my family. And I want to make sure that they're successful. And I want to make sure that they're happy as well as I am. Have a great day. If you want to chat about this a little bit more, you know where to get a hold of me. Take care.